Donald Trump thought he would crush Obama with venomous attacks on his family until Obama uttered a sentence that silenced the entire room, froze Trump, and turned his arrogance into a live television humiliation for millions to witness. The tension was already thick in the air days before the event. Cable news was buzzing nonstop. Panels argued whether Trump would actually cross the line into family territory. Social media was on fire with memes and predictions. Supporters cheered him on in the comments, saying, "Go get him, Mr. President," while critics posted clips of old rallies warning that he was about to self-destruct. Regular folks at diners and barbecues across the country were talking about it too. Not just politics, but the raw, ugly personal angle. Everyone sensed this wasn't going to be another boring debate. This was going to be a street fight on national TV. Then, 2 nights before the show, something weird landed in Trump's inbox. An anonymous email from a burner account. No signature, just a subject line. "You sure you want to go there?" Attached was a single blurry screenshot. Some old medical record, a name redacted but dates that lined up with one of his daughters when she was in her early 20s. A cryptic note underneath, "Glass houses, Donald. Think twice." Trump stared at it for maybe 10 seconds, then laughed out loud. Fake news. Total garbage. Probably some low-life hacker or a disgruntled ex-staffer trying to spook him. He forwarded it to his security guy with one line. "Trash it. They've got nothing." But deep down, the timing stung. It lit a bigger fire under him. If they were trying to scare him off, that only proved he was right to hit harder. No backing down now. He was going and swinging. By the morning of the event, Trump was wired. He walked the halls of the studio like he owned the place, shaking hands, cracking jokes with the crew, but his eyes were sharp, focused. He kept running the opening lines in his head. He could already feel the adrenaline pumping. This was his moment. Obama might have the fancy suits and the smooth talk, but Trump had the guts to say what nobody else would. He was ready to drop the hammer, shut down the rumors about Barron once and for all, and walk off that stage looking 10 feet tall. Little did he know, the trap he was walking into had already been set. The lights hit the stage like a spotlight on a boxing ring. Trump strode out first, shoulders squared, that familiar half smirk already locked in place. The audience, packed with a mix of supporters, skeptics, and straight-up rubberneckers, started clapping the second they saw him. Some stood up, others just stared, phones already out recording. He gave a quick wave, the kind that said, "I own this room," then sat down across from Barack Obama. Obama rose politely, shook his hand, sat back with that steady, unreadable look he'd perfected over years in the public eye. The moderator said a few quick words to set the rules, but nobody was really listening. Everyone knew the real show was about to start. Trump didn't waste a second. The second the moderator nodded to him, he leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on Obama. "Barack, let's cut the nice guy act right now. You talk about hope and change, but look at what you actually left behind. Weak borders, jobs shipped to China, Iran laughing at us with pockets full of cash. You were a nice guy in the White House, maybe, but you were a lousy leader." The crowd reacted instantly, some cheers from the back rows, a few sharp inhales from others. Trump didn't pause. He kept going, voice rising just enough to fill the studio. "And don't get me started on family values. You go around preaching about being a good dad, but your own daughters, Sasha and Malia, they hardly ever mention you anymore. What kind of father lets that happen? You were too busy golfing and giving speeches to actually raise them right." A low murmur rolled through the audience. A couple of people actually gasped out loud. Phones shot up higher. This was the clip everyone had come for. Trump felt the energy shift toward him like a wave. He was in the driver's seat now. He could see it in the faces. Some shocked, some nodding along, others just stunned that he'd gone there so fast. He pressed harder. "I fixed what you broke. Economy roaring, ISIS crushed, America respected again. You? You left us weaker, divided, embarrassed on the world stage, and you want to sit here acting like you're above it all? Come on, Barack. Own it. He leaned back a little, arms crossed, letting the words hang. The moderator tried to jump in with a question about policy specifics, but Trump waved him off like he was swatting a fly. He wasn't done. He turned the knife a little more. You know, people talk about my family. They throw around nasty rumors about my son Barron. Absurd stuff. But at least I'm here defending my kid. Where were you when people questioned your own kid's loyalty? Or maybe there's more to that story you don't want out there. Secrets in the Obama house. Wouldn't be the first time, right? The room felt tighter now. A few boos mixed with the cheers. Someone in the front row actually muttered Jesus under their breath. Trump's pulse was pounding. He loved this. He could feel the momentum building, the way the crowd was hanging on every word. He glanced at Obama, expecting to see the guy rattled, maybe shifting in his seat or looking away. But Obama just sat there, calm, hands folded, eyes steady. Not a flicker of anger, not even a raised eyebrow. He looked like a man who'd heard worse in his sleep. Then Obama spoke, voice low and even, cutting through the noise like a knife through butter. Donald, I get it. You're angry. You've been angry for a long time. But there's a difference between fighting hard and fighting dirty. You want to talk about families? Fine. Just remember, when you start throwing stones, you better make sure your own house isn't made of glass. He paused, let the words sink in. No shout, no finger pointing. Just that quiet warning, the kind that lands heavier than any yell. Trump blinked once, twice. The smirk stayed, but something in his eyes shifted, just for a split second. The audience felt it too. The air changed, not a full flip yet, but the first crack in the wall. Trump opened his mouth to fire back, but the moderator finally got a word in, steering toward foreign policy. Trump recovered quick, jumping into a rant about trade deals and China, piling on the wins like nothing had happened. But that little pause, that tiny hesitation, he couldn't shake it. And Obama? He just nodded slightly, still calm, still watching, like he was waiting for the right moment. The moderator was still trying to steer things back to trade policy when Obama raised a hand. Just a small gesture, nothing dramatic. The room quieted almost instantly. Trump was mid-sentence, hammering another point about how great his economy had been when Obama cut in. Not loud, not angry, just calm, like he was stating the weather. Donald, Obama said, voice steady, eyes locked right on him. You want to talk about families? You want to question how I raise my daughters? Okay, let's talk about yours. He paused for half a beat, letting the silence build. Then he delivered it, clear and slow so every word landed like a punch. You crossed boundaries with your daughter when she was 23. You should be ashamed. The studio went dead quiet, like someone hit mute on the whole world. Trump's mouth was still half open from whatever comeback he'd been about to fire. His face froze, eyes wide, that trademark smirk wiped clean off. For the first time all night, he looked small. The audience didn't gasp this time. They just stared, stunned. Phones were up everywhere, but nobody was cheering or booing. They were holding their breath. Obama didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He reached down to the small table beside him, pulled out a slim folder nobody had noticed before, and slid a single sheet across toward the center. This is a medical report, he said, matter of fact, from reliable sources inside your own circle. Dates line up, names of doctors, treatment notes, emergency room visits. It's all here. You can deny it, you can call it fake, but the paper doesn't lie. Trump blinked hard like he was trying to wake up from a bad dream. He leaned forward, grabbed at the sheet, scanned it quick. His hands shook, just a little, but enough for the close-up cameras to catch. This is nonsense, he stammered. Total fake. Crooked Obama pulling strings again. I've never... He stopped himself, voice cracking on the last word. The date stared back at him. Specific months, a hospital in New York, notations about inappropriate contact flagged by staff. Witnesses listed, household employees, security detail. Details too precise to brush off as made up on the spot. He tried again, louder this time, forcing the bravado back. Nobody's going to believe this garbage. It's a setup. Deep state, folks. Deep state. But the words sounded thin, desperate. The crowd wasn't buying it anymore. Murmurs started rippling, some shocked, some angry, some just plain horrified. Trump's eyes darted to the moderator, then back to Obama, looking for an out. There wasn't one. Then the real bomb dropped. The big screen behind them flickered. A producer's voice crackled over the speakers. We have an incoming call, authenticated, former senior aide to the Trump administration. He's requesting to join live. Before anyone could object, the feed switched. A face appeared, grainy at first, then sharp. It was one of Trump's old inner circle guys, someone who'd quit years back after a quiet falling out. The man looked straight into the camera, no hesitation. I'm not here to play games, the aide said, voice low but firm. I was in the room that night. I saw what happened. I documented it. Timestamps, photos on my phone, notes I kept because I couldn't believe it myself. The report Barack has? It's real. I helped make sure copies got out safely. Donald, you told us to bury it. You said it would ruin you. You were right. A short video clip rolled on the screen, blurry security footage from a hallway in one of Trump's properties. Grainy, but clear enough. A young woman walking fast, visibly upset. Trump a few steps behind, reaching out. The clip cut before anything explicit, but the context hit like a freight train. Timestamps matched the medical report exactly. The aide kept talking over it. She was 23. She was family. And you crossed that line. I stayed quiet too long. Not anymore. Trump's face went white. Not red with anger, white, like the blood drained out. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out at first, then finally a weak, hoarse whisper. This is edited, doctored. You people are disgusting. But nobody was listening. The room erupted, not in cheers, not in boos, but in a low rolling wave of shock and whispers. Phones lit up brighter. Social media was already exploding outside the studio walls. Obama sat back, hands folded again, watching Trump the way you watch a building start to collapse. No gloating, just quiet. The moderator looked shell-shocked, fumbling for words. Trump stared at the screen, at the aide's face, at the frozen clip still looping silently behind him. His shoulders slumped. Just a fraction, but it was enough. The silence didn't last long. Trump snapped out of it like someone had slapped him. His face flushed red again. Not the confident red from earlier, but angry, panicked red. He slammed his palm on the table, hard enough that the microphones picked up the thud. This is a disgrace, he shouted, voice cracking on the last word. A total witch hunt. Barack, you and your people cooked this up. Fake documents, fake videos, fake everything. Deep State's been after me since day one, and now they drag you into it? Pathetic. He turned toward the audience, pointing a finger like he was at a rally. Folks, you're seeing it live. They hate me because I tell the truth. They hate that I made America great again. Don't buy this garbage. It's all lies. Some cheers broke out from the back, die-hard supporters trying to rally, but they sounded thin, scattered. Most of the room stayed quiet, eyes wide, glued to the unfolding mess. Trump's voice kept climbing, but every few sentences it hitched, like the air was getting caught in his throat. He was swinging wild now, no longer landing clean punches. I've got the best lawyers. We'll sue everybody. CNN, the network, you, Barack, all of you. This ends tonight. Obama didn't flinch. He waited until Trump ran out of steam, then nodded to a producer off stage. The big screen lit up again. This time it wasn't video, it was audio. Clear, crisp, a man's voice speaking low and careful. The recording started. "I worked security for the family for 8 years, the voice said. Anonymous, face blurred out in a still photo that appeared beside the waveform. "I was there the night it happened. Saw her leave the room crying. Heard him tell her to keep quiet. Said it was nobody's business. Next day, he called me in. Told me to make sure the staff signed NDAs, delete any footage, pay off the housekeeper who walked in on them. Said if it ever got out, it'd destroy him. I kept records, dates, times, who he called. I've got copies. I'm done protecting it." Trump's eyes locked on the screen. His mouth worked, but no sound came out at first. Then he exploded again. "That's not even a real person. Voice is AI. They can fake anything now. This is character assassination, pure and simple." Obama spoke over him, calm as ever. "The man's identity is protected for his safety, but the details match the medical report. The dates, the location, the people involved. You can threaten lawsuits all you want, Donald. Truth doesn't care about your lawyers." Trump leaned forward, jabbing a finger at Obama. "You think you're clever? You think this wins you anything? I demand real proof, right now. Not some blurry clip, not some anonymous coward hiding behind a microphone. Show me something I can't deny." Obama didn't hesitate. He reached into the folder again and pulled out a stack of printed emails. Blacked out sender names, but the content crystal clear. He held one up so the camera could zoom in. "These are from your own team. Internal chain. Subject line, barren situation containment. One from your longtime fixer. Boss wants all traces gone. Paid the doc extra to lose the file. NDAs tripled. Another from legal. If this leaks, we're looking at criminal exposure. Suppress hard. Timestamps line up with the incident. These weren't hacked in some shady way. They were leaked by people inside who couldn't stomach it anymore. Ethical disclosure. Protected sources." The audience erupted. Not cheers, not boos, just a low rolling wave of murmurs that grew louder. People turning to each other, whispering, shaking heads. A woman in the third row actually covered her mouth with her hand. Trump's face drained again, pale under the lights. He stared at the screen where the emails were now enlarged, scrolling slowly so everyone could read. His breathing got shallow, fast, like he couldn't catch it. He tried one more time. This is doctored. Metadata's fake. I'll prove it. You'll see." But the words came out weak, almost pleading. His hands gripped the edge of the table so tight the knuckles went white. The moderator looked lost, glancing between them like he didn't know whether to cut to commercial or let it play out. Obama set the emails down gently. "You asked for proof. There it is, from your own people, your own words, through them. You can yell, you can threaten, you can call it fake. But the emails don't lie. The people who sent them don't lie. And the American people watching right now, they're not stupid." Trump didn't answer. He just sat there, staring at the table, chest rising and falling too quick. The bravado was gone. What was left looked like a man watching his whole world crack open on live television. The murmurs in the crowd kept building, turning into a steady hum of disbelief. Obama didn't rush. He turned slightly, looked right into the main camera, not at Trump, not at the crowd, but straight at the millions watching at home. His voice came out quiet, steady, the way a teacher talks when the lesson's finally sinking in. "The truth doesn't need a microphone," he said. "It doesn't need volume. It doesn't need insults or threats. It just needs courage." He paused, letting that sit. "I've been called a lot of things in my life. Weak, soft, not tough enough. But I never had to scream to make my point. I never had to tear someone's family apart on live TV to feel strong. That's not leadership. That's fear. And tonight, we've all seen the difference between real strength and the kind that crumbles when the lights get bright." He glanced over at Trump for just a second, No anger in his eyes, just something close to pity. You came here to dominate, to make people afraid. But truth isn't afraid of you, Donald. It just waits. And when it shows up, all the yelling in the world can't make it go away. The words landed soft but heavy. The crowd shifted, some people nodding slowly, others wiping at their eyes. Sympathy was tilting hard toward Obama now, the guy who'd taken the hits without swinging back wild. Trump's supporters in the back were still trying to clap, but it sounded forced, lonely. Most of the room was looking at Trump like he was shrinking right in front of them. Trump couldn't take it anymore. He shoved his chair back a few inches, stood halfway up, face twisted. This is rigged. All of it. You people, the media, the deep state, you set me up. I'm not sitting here for this garbage. I built this country back while you... His voice cracked again, high and ragged on the last word. He pointed at Obama, finger shaking. You're finished. You hear me? Finished. The moderator jumped in fast. Mr. President, please, let's keep this civil. We have time for... But Trump was already yelling over him, words tumbling out in a mess. Civil? They're destroying me on live TV. This is a lynching, a modern-day lynching. Right then, a graphic popped up on the screen. Live viewer poll results scrolling in real time. The numbers were brutal. Trump's approval in the room had tanked from 62% at the start to 28% now. Online viewers were even worse, down to the low teens in some demographics. Gasps rippled through the audience again. Someone in the front row actually let out a quiet, "Oh my God." Trump's eyes flicked to the graphic. He froze mid-rant, mouth open, staring at the numbers like they'd punched him in the gut. His shoulders dropped. The outburst died in his throat. Then came the final nail. The producer's voice crackled again. We have another caller. Authenticated. Dr. Elena Ramirez, former physician associated with the Trump family. She's requesting to join via video. The screen split. A woman in her late 50s appeared, white coat in the background, calm but serious. She looked straight at the camera. I treated the individual in question that night, she said, voice clear. I'm here under sworn affidavit. The medical report is accurate. I documented everything. Physical exam findings, patient statements, follow-up notes. Mr. Trump instructed staff to classify it as confidential, offered incentives for silence. I refused to destroy records. I kept copies. Timelines match exactly. Incident at 11:47 p.m. ER arrival 1:12 a.m. Discharge 4:03 a.m. with instructions for private follow-up. I have the originals. They're with authorities now. She held up a thick envelope for the camera. These are notarized affidavits from 2 nurses who were present. They corroborate every detail. I stayed silent out of fear for too long. But seeing this tonight, I can't anymore. Trump didn't yell this time. He just sat back down hard, like his legs gave out. His face was ashen, eyes glassy. The boos started low at first, then building from pockets of the crowd. Not the whole room, but enough. Sharp, angry boos mixed with people shaking their heads. A couple of his supporters tried to shout back, "Fake," but they got drowned out quick. The moderator cleared his throat. We're going to take a short break. But Trump was already moving. He pushed his chair back slowly, stood up. No big dramatic exit, just a man who looked 10 years older in the last 20 minutes. He didn't look at Obama, didn't look at the camera. He just walked off the stage, head down, shoulders hunched. The boos followed him like an echo. A few people stood up, not to cheer him, but to watch him go, like they couldn't believe what they'd just seen. The studio lights dimmed a little as the cameras cut to commercial, but nobody moved much. The air still felt thick, like the whole place was stunned into place. Trump had walked off that stage without another word. No wave, no final jab, no signature thumbs up. Just gone. Head down, steps slow, disappearing through the side curtain like a man who'd aged 20 years in 20 minutes. The booze trailed after him, fading only when the door clicked shut. Back in the room, the moderator looked shell-shocked, fumbling papers trying to figure out how to wrap this up. Obama stayed seated for a long beat, then stood slowly. He didn't smile or pump a fist. He just looked straight into the main camera again, voice low and even. "Tonight wasn't about winning a debate," he said. "It was about accountability. When powerful people use their platforms to attack others' families while hiding their own truths, something breaks. We all saw what happens when that truth finally comes out. It doesn't need fireworks. It doesn't need rage. It just needs to be said, clearly and without fear." He paused, eyes steady. "I hope we all take a moment tonight to think about what kind of leaders we want. The ones who yell loudest, or the ones willing to face hard facts even when it hurts?" He gave a small nod, then walked off quietly. No drama, just gone. The screen cut to the network logo, but the feed stayed live for a few extra seconds, long enough for the audience to start filing out in hushed clusters, phones already lighting up as people checked reactions pouring in. Outside the bubble of the studio, the internet exploded. Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Hashtag Trump collapse. Hashtag Obama destroys. Hashtag glass houses trending #1 worldwide. Cable news split screens, one side replaying Obama's calm delivery, the other showing Trump's frozen face over and over. Pundits tripped over each other trying to describe what just happened. Unprecedented. A public execution. The end of an era. Social media was a wildfire. Memes, reaction videos, people posting side-by-side stills of Trump at the start of the night looking like a king, and at the end looking broken. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. About 40 minutes after the broadcast ended, the network cut back in for a special post-show segment. They played a short clip pulled straight from Ivanka Trump's Instagram story, already screenshotted and shared 1,000,000 times before she could delete it. The video was simple. Her sitting in what looked like her living room. Soft lighting, no makeup, eyes red like she'd been crying. She didn't say much, just looked at the camera for maybe 10 seconds, then spoke quietly. Sometimes the hardest truths are the ones we've known all along but never wanted to face. I love my family. Always will. But love doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. It means dealing with it, even when it breaks your heart. She didn't name names, didn't say dad or spell out the scandal, but the timing, the tone, the way her voice cracked on "nothing happened," it was enough. The internet lost its mind all over again. Headlines screamed, "Ivanka's cryptic post confirms scandal." Daughter breaks silence after father's humiliation. Clips looped endlessly. Comment sections flooded with heartbreak, anger, speculation. Media outlets scrambled to get statements. Trump Tower went dark. No lights in the windows, no responses from the usual spokespeople. The frenzy built hour by hour, turning what had started as a TV showdown into a full-blown national reckoning. In the days that followed, the story didn't fade. It grew legs. Late-night shows replayed the key moments. Newspapers ran front-page breakdowns of every piece of evidence: the medical report, the AIDS testimony, the emails, the doctor's affidavit. Pundits argued over whether this was the final nail in Trump's political coffin or just another chapter he'd somehow spin. But deep down, most people knew something had shifted for good. The real lesson wasn't about one man's fall or another's composure. It was simpler, sharper. Bravado can carry you far, through rallies, through scandals, through years in the spotlight. But when real truth shows up, quiet and backed by facts, all the noise in the world can't drown it out. Yelling doesn't make lies true. Threats don't erase evidence. And sometimes the strongest thing a person can do isn't to swing harder. It's to stand still, speak clearly, and let the facts do the talking. That night, millions watched a masterclass in exactly that. Aggression met its match in restraint. Lies met their match in proof. And in the end, the one who walked away looking taller wasn't the one who shouted loudest. It was the one who didn't have to.